So your shoulders are giving you a hard time. Maybe it hurts to lift them up. Maybe it hurts to work out. Guess what? It might not be your shoulder. Watch this. So what does that mean? It might not be your shoulder. Let me tell you. Your shoulder has 18 muscles that directly impact its function. Whether you're lifting overhead, reaching out to the side, picking things up, pushing, doing, push-ups or bench presses or, rotation. A lot of people want to work that rotator cuff. Well, guess what? A lot of the times that's what the problem is, because we're working the rotator cuff and there's nothing wrong with it. It's everything else that's not working right. So I don't want to get ahead of myself. So here's the deal. When you go to use your shoulders, for one thing, your shoulders are the most mobile joint in the body, right? I mean, you can do this, and you can't do that with your hips. Your hips are the second most mobile joint in the body, but you can't do that with your hips unless you joined a circus and you had really crazy mobility. So because your shoulder is so mobile, the rotator cuff's job, there's 4 muscles, is to keep that shoulder joint stable. Now, what happens is so many people get caught up in rotator cuff, including my profession, including physical therapists. A lot of people, they can only teach what they know. And a lot of the times there's a little bit of a lack of not understanding. So what happens is they're thinking, oh my gosh, it's got to be the rotator cuff because you've got pain with rotation. So maybe it's the rotator cuff. Let's stretch it out. Let's use a TheraBand. You'll use this band, right? And you're gonna rotate out, and you're gonna make sure you strengthen that rotator cuff. Because the rotator cuff's job is to stabilize an unstable joint, its job is not to lift and push and use strength. That's for all the other muscles. And so you've got, 14 other muscles that have nothing to do with the rotator cuff, and you're doing things that are really working, getting that shoulder blade to work, right? You're getting the front of the shoulders, the side of the shoulders, the back of the shoulders. But there's parts that most people don't even understand that will impact shoulder function, and it's the whole rest of the body. And what I mean by that is your foot and ankle, your hips, your thoracic spine. Those areas are huge. Your pelvis, big time. So what does that mean? Do you have to work your entire body to make sure your shoulder's working right? Kinda, sorta. But it doesn't mean you've got to do 100 different exercises. What you need to do is you need to make sure that you are working properly at your foot and ankle. And I'll tell you a quick little story. I was working with a young man who was a football player. He was a quarterback, and he had a diagnosis of shoulder tendonitis, elbow tendonitis, and pain. Well, when he came to me, I looked at him. There was nothing wrong with his arm at all. It was his ankles. They were very unstable. So when he threw the football, because that ankle was unstable because he had sprained them and they really weren't functioning properly, because of that craziness going on here, his arm was going a little too far because he wasn't stopping him, okay? And so now you've got too much stuff happening with the shoulder, and stuff happened to go wrong. So he couldn't do 3 hours of 3-man throws to practice. All I did was work with his ankles and restore proper function. After about I think it was 3 or 4 sessions, he could do 3 hours, 3-man throws with his football, and he had no pain whatsoever in his shoulder because his ankles weren't working right. So please look, I've done a lot of teaching on plantar fasciitis, but it teaches how the ankles are working. I taught you, I showed you how to do the bones of the foot and how it works. And if that's not working right, that could be what's wrong with your shoulder. Yeah. So it's really important that you know this. I'm going to do some more videos, probably at least 2 or 3, where I give you some really good instruction as to what other things are going wrong. So let me show you a couple things for the foot and ankle and make sure it's working right, okay? So the goal here is to make sure that your foot does a really nice dorsiflexion, right? So I'm coming forward and we're getting that nice dorsiflexion. And we also want to make sure that you've got the hips working so that your ankles are doing eversion, inversion, and pronation. Sorry, pronation is this way and supination. So depending on which foot is back and which foot is forward, you want to make sure that you've got full range, okay? So let me show you. I'll turn around so you can see what I'm doing and it's easier for you to understand. So if I want to make sure that your left foot and ankle is performing properly, you can come forward, but keep the heel down so you get that nice dorsiflexion. And then what you can do is you can have that foot come forward, and that's going to give you where that heel is going to do the side to side. So we can go across and we can go out, but I'm still going forward, right? So you're getting that nice where that ankle is doing what it needs to be doing side to side, including dorsiflexion, right? So, and then we want to do rotation. So for rotation, I'm kind of turning in, I'm rotating in, and you can even add a little bit of arms. The goal here is to make sure that that knee is nice and soft and it's bending a little bit as I come forward, but I'll show you from sideways. We've got that nice motion happening, right? That's giving us that supination and really getting that foot and ankle to do the right motion. And then we rotate here, and this is giving us that nice pronation, and you can keep rotating, okay? And that's going to get that ankle to start doing all the motions that it's designed to do. You want to do it on both sides and see if you don't notice a difference in your shoulders, no matter what you're doing and what you're using. Now, yes, there are some different reasons you've got shoulder pain, okay? It could be kind of impinging. There could be some issues going on, a lot of noise. Maybe you're lacking range in some things, but make sure that the ankle is working properly before you start going and beating up your shoulders, all right? And then the next time, I'm going to show you how to make sure that your pelvis is working right so that your shoulders are responding properly and not complaining, not whining, not hurting. All right? So please hit the subscribe button. Make sure that you know when other videos come out. And I hope to see you the next time.